Hey YouTube, and welcome back. Now, in the last video, we connected and stored data from our IoT device to an InfluxDB cloud database, which is a time series database. And then we were able to route our data from the InfluxDB database to an awesome dashboard that we created on Grafana. Now, that was really awesome and a very nice project, and I hope as you've been following this series, you've been able to try that out, right? In this video, we will look at extending the functionality of our application to the Google Home app. So this would give us the ability to be able to control our lamps, with our sensor, our lamp, or get sensor data from the Google Home app. For example, I have my Google Home app set up here, right? And basically I can turn off the red LED, right? So that turn off the red LED and turn off the blue LED, or I can turn on the blue LED and also turn on the red LED, or even increase the brightness. So right now the brightness is 8%. I can move it to like 95%, right, for the blue LED, right, and for the red LED, right. So it's just gonna open it using the mouse. I could set the brightness up to like 95%. You can see that come up, right. So this is cool. We can also like use our app, we would also be looking at, I'll also be giving you the code for, the V4 version of this code, where you can, as you make the changes here, right, with your blue LED, it will reflect. So we just change it to 27, right? You can see that come down to 27. We can increase that to about 82. Is that 82 blue LED, right? So 82%. Or we can even turn down the red LED to a lower percentage, right? 8.5. And you would see the red LED reflecting 8% down here, right? So this is an awesome project that, we've been building up on over the past few weeks, right? I hope, you're gonna enjoy this. I'm enjoying this, right? You can also see the temperature sensors and humidity sensor. We will be using Google Home and Firebase, so hopefully you're gonna learn a lot from this, feel free also to ask your questions if you get stuck. I will try my best to explain. I really do hope this tutorial interests you. I will try my best to explain and simplify the setup process for this project as best as I can, and I hope you do learn from it. Again, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, and share these videos. Now, let's get right into it. So in the second video in this series, which was simple IoT architecture review, we went through a simple IoT architecture. That was the system where we had our microcontroller, an IoT hub, that could probably send data through a gateway to the microcontroller, right, or router, right? So we have the IoT hub, and then we have databases and business logic with the telemetry, authentication, user management. We also had device management, telemetry, right? So we went through all of this. There's a lot here, including authentication services, data analytics, machine learning, and a WebSocket protocol, right? So we went through all of this, and after going through it, we talked a lot about it in the second video in this series, which is the simple IoT architecture, right? And then we decided that we were going to start off with something simple, which is what we've been working on in the past few videos, right? So we have microcontrollers, WOKWI001 and WOKWI002, or my table labs here, connected to an MQTT broker, and then sending data to either the mobile phone, right, where we've been getting data and sending back data, or we also connected to Grafana in the last video. And this is kind of where we stopped, right, where the same thing we built, and we added Telegraph to pull data from here, Telegraph acting as an event hub and push the data into a database. And then we have Grafana pull the data, which it also has kind of monitoring events and pulling data from here, and also show that data in its own user interface. All right, so this is where we've stopped now. If you haven't gone through the second video in the series, please go through it and just see the explanation in more details and how we got here, right? And this is primarily just a simple architecture of what can be done, and so far we've built up to this extent, right? Now we're planning to extend this a little bit further to add Google Home integration, right? So what we want to do is the data coming through this broker, we want to be able to monitor certain types of data that come from this broker, right? So like you put on your device, it registers, the device needs to register itself with Google, right? Because we don't know the device that's there. There's no way Google will know that, hey, you have 50 devices. Oh, you just added 10 more devices, right? So basically this device events listens, and if there's a new registration that's taking place, the device events, which is essentially just an event hub, right? It listens and it takes that data, it passes it through the API service. The API service works on it, stores it. If it's a registration, it saves it in the database, right? Or if it's like an update, we are also saving in a real-time database, but then we also sync with the cloud, with the Google Home, through the Google Cloud, right? So, but you'd see what, as we move on, you'd see what we're working on and why, right? So basically, we have this API service, which is essentially a Firebase function, and we will go through that, how to set up your Firebase and set it up to be able to talk to Google Cloud and, send commands from your Firebase APIs or your Firebase functions through Google Cloud to your smart home device and make some connections there, right? So essentially, that's what we're going to try to do in this video. For this session, in this video, we're going to take a different approach. I know in the past we've been doing like walkthrough and going over code, but for this particular video, the code is already written. I will provide the link. So here we have the IoT Google Home APIs. All right, the code is already provided, and we're just gonna walk through rather how to set this up, right? And feel free to use the code, modify it, and just see whatever you can make out of it. Now, what we're gonna do is, like we discussed, we're gonna, and earlier, we're going to try to add Google Home integration into our system. So our MQTT broker, we're going to have Firebase APIs. This is the Firebase functions that will be, the Firebase will be talking with the Google Cloud, right? And it will also be able to send certain messages to the, it'll be able to send messages to our devices using the MQTT broker that we have already set up. There will also be another code that is the event hub, and we will get there, that will be set up, that will listen to messages and forward them appropriately, right? So let's go ahead and start. So for this, we'll need to install a source code editor like Visual Studio Code. I already have that installed. Let me open that. Okay, yep. I already have Visual Studio Code installed. We're also going to we're also going to install npm and Node.js. I already have those installed, right? So if you want to, you can follow the links if you haven't installed it yet. So basically, you can follow this link to download the version. So if you want the macOS version or the Windows version, you can follow this. Just click on this to download and install onto your computer. All right. So we'll just check, make sure that the installation instructions are also written there, right? So we'll just check to make sure. So node -v. So I have Node.js 18.12.1 and npm -v. I have 8.19.12. Right. So just make sure those are installed. Those are required. And then we're going to have to download this repository. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So I'm going to go and download a zip file for this. I'm also going to rename it. So let's rename it IoT. Okay, let's rename it Master Class App. So we'll call it Masterclass App, right? Oh, sorry. Okay. Call it Masterclass App. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and open Masterclass App from my Visual Studio, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna open this, go to Downloads Masterclass App, and open that. So let's go back to the source and let's open the README. Okay. So download this repository. Now go to Firebase console, register and create an account. Right. So let's go to the Firebase console. Open that. So now that is opening. So it's just console.firebase.com. So you could just go to console.firebase.com and you should be able to download this. So you should be able to add a project, right? So let's add a project. And we'll call it master. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the right account. Yeah, okay. Make sure you're in the right account. Well, do this. So master class app. Okay. I don't really need Google Analytics. Maybe in a production-based application I would need it, but at this point, no. So I'm going to go ahead and create the project. Yep, so it should take a few seconds to provision the resources and set that up. So we'll just wait for that. There it is, it's completed. So let's go to continue. And now let's minimize this and let's open this here. Okay. That way we can come back here. All right, so we're here in step 1. Now create a project. We've created the project. Now it says if you don't have an account, a Google Cloud account, I already have one. Go to console.google.com and register for a free account. The reason why you would need that is Google will give you, when you register the first time, Google will give you $300 credit for this, right? The reason why you need that is we would want to upgrade our plan from a Spark plan to a pay-as-you-go plan, to the Blaze plan. So first go to the console.cloud.google.com and register a free account with the same login details you have. And it'll give you, you'll need to put in your credit card, but it won't charge you. They'll give you a free $300 credit that you can use, right? And then come back here and upgrade this to the Blaze plan. So let's go ahead and do that. So pay-as-you-go plan, right? So this is the one I want. Blaze, pay-as-you-go, and select plan. And then I already have my billing account set up. Continue. Send an email to administrator. So probably when it's up to $20, I want to be notified. Continue. And then purchase. Now you can still do most of this. You can still do most of this, and a few of the remaining steps without upgrading to the Blaze plan. But I think when you're about to deploy to Firebase, I'm not sure if it will let you do that. One of the process will get stopped on the way, but just in case, we've updated to the Blaze pay-as-you-go plan, so we're good. Right, so just make sure you do that. First, go to console.cloud.google.com, register for a free Google Cloud account. They'll give you $300 credit, and then you can use that with this, and you should be fine. Right, now we need to create a Firestore database. So we'll go ahead and create a Firestore database. That's it right here. Right, so that should open that, and now we'll create the database. We'll start in production, that's fine. Next, let's look for something that's close. Let's see, we'll just use South Carolina for now. Enable. And now our Firestore database is done. So this is a NoSQL database. All right. So now the next thing is we need to create a real-time database for real-time data. So let's go to the real-time database, and we'll just go ahead and create that. Okay. I think we'll just use US Central. That's fine. Next, locked mode, that's fine. Enable. Okay, so we have both our Firestore database and real-time database created. Now, moving back, the next step here says download this repository. We already downloaded here. Use this repository using Visual Studio Code or any code editor of your choice. So let's go ahead and open that. So I'm gonna probably move this back here and minimize that. Visual Studio Code, we've already opened it, right? We've already opened it. So now open the terminal. So let's open the terminal. New terminal. and there is our terminal, and it says make sure npm and Node.js is installed. We already confirmed that previously, so npm -v, we already have that, 8.19.2 node -v, and we have the 18.12.1. So just make sure those are there, right? Now we need to use install Firebase CLI, right? So basically I already have this installed, right? I already have this installed. So if you're on Mac, just run sudo npm install -g Firebase tools, or sudo npm install -g. If you're on Windows, there's no need to use the sudo. So just to validate that we have that, we can do Firebase tools to check that we have it installed, -v, and oh, I think it's version. Yeah, sorry about that. Minus version, and that should give us 11.25.3, right? So I have Firebase tools installed. So if I want to check Firebase -v, which should also version, should also have installed my base. My base doesn't have a name. Okay. So it should also Firebase minus version, and it should also be 11.25.3. All right. So we do have Firebase and Firebase tools, which gives us access to the CLI, right? Just to make sure I am logged in to the right account. So the next step here says Firebase CLI with your Google Cloud account by running Firebase login. Just to make sure that I'm logged in into the right account, I'm gonna log out first just to make sure. So that should log me out if I was logged out. Okay, looks like I was working on a different account previously. Okay, so I am logged out. Now I'm going to log in, right? So Firebase login, which should log me in, enter, and then it should request to open a browser, right? Allow Firebase to collect CLI and related usage and error reporting information. That's fine, yes. And it should open this URL, right? So you can go ahead and click on this, but basically it'll open a web page where you would be asked to sign in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sign in with the right account. Okay. And now allow, and now I'm logged in. All right. So just to show you that, you can see that here it says Firebase CLI successfully logged in. So this is the browser window that it opened, right? And now I'm logged into the right account. So that's the u.francis, yeah. And that should be the account I used to create my Firebase, right? I logged in with my Firebase, right? So let's go back. So now we are logged in. Your browser should open and request Firebase credentials. We already did that. And then you can use this to log out if you need to log out to use a different account. After successfully logging in, go back to Visual Studio, which we're already here, right? Initialize a Firebase project by running Firebase init. So we're just gonna run that. Firebase init, and now it should load up the Firebase CLI, right? And okay, it says select database and function. So there are two databases that we're using. We're using the Firestore and the real-time database, right? So you use your spacebar to select. So here I've selected, so it's green now, selected real-time database. I'm also gonna select Firestore, so here's my Firestore, and I'm also gonna select functions. So those are the three that we need. We do not need hosting, that's if you wanna host a web page, right? We do not need to set up GitHub Action Deploys. We also do not need storage for this account. We do not need emulators, and we do not need remote config. So there's only three items we need: real-time database, Firestore, and functions. And now we press enter. Now, the question here says, use an existing project, create a new project. We're going to, so you can use your arrow bar to move. We're going to use an existing project because we already created that on database. On Firebase. Now, it said, okay, so it says to select, we have two projects. So we want to use the masterclass app, right? So that's that one. Let's go ahead and select that one. Okay, now it says database.rules.json already exists. That's this file here. It says, do you want to override it with real-time database security rules for master, or we don't want to override it. We use whatever we have in this code, so that's a no. It says, Firebase security rules allows you to define when to allow requests. You can keep these rules in your project directly. What file should we use for Firestore rules? That's the firestore.rules. We already have that file. So we just click OK. File Firestore rules already exists. Do you want this file right here? Right? Do you want to override it with Firestore rules from, we would say no to that also. All right, that's the name. Right. Okay. Keep one. Okay. So now Firestore indexes allows you to perform complex queries. What file should you use for Firestore indexes? That's Firestore indexes.json. So let's go ahead and create that. Functions setup. So it looks like we're done setting up Firestore. So now we're gonna set up the functions. Let's give it a few seconds. Now it says, would you like to initialize a new code base or override an existing one? So you can see one of those questions here. We want to actually override. We don't want to initialize a new one. All right, so we would override it. It says, what language would you want to use for your cloud functions? We want to use JavaScript. The code is written in JavaScript. So enter. Do you want ESLint to catch probable bugs and enforce non-style? No, we don't want to use ESLint. So no. Fire functions package.jsons already exist. Do you want to override it? No, because we have some definitions for the code there. So you don't want to override that. File functions / index.js already exists. You want to override it? No, because that is our entry point for this code, and we already have the code written. So we'll just say no to that. File functions.getIgnore already exists. Do you want to override it? That's fine. We can override it. We don't really need it. Do you want to install the dependencies with npm now? Yes, we want to install our dependencies. And now it's going ahead to install the required dependencies for this code. Now, all the dependencies have already been specified. So let's go ahead, just install it, and when it's done, we can continue. Okay, so now we have everything set up. So added 504 packages, right? So at this point we are set up, right? So what is the next step? So it says number 15, it says go to functions folder and run npm install. So I'm just going to open another terminal here, and I'm going to do cd functions, and then I'm going to do so I'm in the functions folder now, and I'm going to do npm install. So this should install all the packages that we have in the package.json here. So we do have a few dependencies that this code uses, like actions, axios, cores, Firebase admin, Firebase functions, APIs, and MQTT. Right, so let's just go ahead and install that. Right, so okay, I think this is good. This should be good, I guess. Yeah. So let's go ahead. What is the next step? Let's go back. I think it's already installed. All right. So the next step says go to functions. So it says important. Okay, number 16. Go to connection parameters. Go to functions. Helpers connection params.json. Helpers connection params.json. And it says change the MQTT broker URL address. Now, you also need to change your username and password if it's different. So from our previous code, I think we used username IoT Masterclass and password IoT Masterclass 9090. So you remember from the previous video. So we're just gonna go ahead and change our server URL. So we can get that from our project 3, right? So we'll just copy our broker URL from here, copy, and okay, this should go here, and that should be that, right? Just make sure we save all this. Okay, I think it's another save. Okay. All right. So so we've done that. Now we're done with setting this up, so we can just deploy this to Firebase at this point. So we could say Firebase deploy. Firebase deploy, and now we should be able to deploy that. So this might take like roughly a minute, a few seconds to a minute usually. So if everything goes well, we should have this application deployed. Okay, there we are. There we are. So now our deployment is complete. You can see our deployment is complete, right? And everything has been deployed. So there are a few functions. Deploy the token, fake token, smart home, devices. So all the APIs for those functions are written here. Login, fake out, and the report state. Now, just to make sure it deployed correctly, we're going to go back to Firebase, right? And we're going to go to functions down here, right? Now, if everything deploys correctly in your masterclass app, you should get all these functions: devices, fake auth, fake token, login, report state, request sync, and smart home. Now let's go back to our instructions. it says go to Firebase, build functions. You will see the list of hosted functions. We already did that, build functions, right? That's how we got to this view. So we've seen the list. The list is right here, right? So next thing we want to do is it says we should go to the cloud console. So let's open that up. Oh, maybe in a new page. Give me a second. So open that in a new page. So it says we need to go to Cloud Console. We click the link here, select the dashboard. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this is the console here. Right, so go to the console, or you can click up here to get to the console. So this is the Google Cloud, right? So we need to go to the console, we need to go to dashboard, you know, pick the newly created project, search for the cloud functions, right? So this is the, to get the new project, this is the recent, but we can go to all, right? So this is the one we just created, masterclass app. So we have that. Search for cloud functions. It's already there, because the reason why this is not a mandatory step to take right for now, but basically it just shows you that the cloud functions you created in Firebase is actually here, right? So let's type that in. I got it. Okay, just close that here. So it says we should search for cloud functions, and you could see those functions that we created, right? All the functions we created in Firebase, right? So if you go to the list and match it up, it should still all be the same. So we have devices fake auth, fake token, that's here also, login, report state, request sync, and smart home, right? So just to make sure, that step is not really a mandatory step, you can skip that, but basically if you wanted to see the functions on the Google Cloud, you can check it there. But basically it's all here in Firebase, so no need for that, right? So let's go on to the next step. So this is the HomeGraph. So we need to enable HomeGraph. So first you need to go to this okay, so you need to go to cloud.google.com. We're already here, right? Select your project. We already did that, right? Open the dashboard. We already did that. Search for HomeGraph API. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's search for HomeGraph. So that's HomeGraph API, right? And now let's, it says we should enable HomeGraph. So we're just gonna enable HomeGraph. So the reason why we need HomeGraph, so this might sound a little confusing, but HomeGraph is, it's an application that helps us sync our data with our devices. So if you have like a state of a device, you would send it over to HomeGraph, and when the device starts up, the device can just collect that data from HomeGraph. If you look at the code, I know we're not talking about the code now, but if you look at the code, if you go to routes, report state, right, where we're reporting the state of our device, if you go down here somewhere, you would see we're having something to do with HomeGraph, where we're reporting the state of the device. HomeGraph devices report state and notification. That's to tell HomeGraph to actually take and store data, and then report an action, right? So the payload, right? So there are also other instances where we've used HomeGraph in this code to maybe query data from a device, right, of the current state. But basically, you need to enable HomeGraph, right? to use this. So if not, your application and your mobile app will be out of sync. So you do need HomeGraph because this application requires it. Right. Now it says go to Google Home Assistant console actions, Google Assistant Actions console. So that's console.actions.google.com. I should have opened that. Sorry about that. Open that in a new window. Okay. So this is our Actions console. Right. So it says we should go to the Google Assistant Actions console, which is this. Right, and it says create a new project. So we're gonna do a new project from here. I agree to the terms of and conditions, terms of service. Agree and continue. And now new project. Project name, we want to select our project name, right? Because we're working with IoT, with the masterclass app, right? So let's go there and so create a new project, import your created project from Firebase, select smart. Okay, so let's import our project, which is the masterclass app. So let's import that, right? So it now says select smart home, which is this, right? And click start building, which just popped up now. So start building. So now that we have that set up, we're in. Oh, there's a lot of steps, I guess. We're in line 22. Now it says under the overview, build actions, name your smart home action. So you can give it any name. So let's go to the display name. So let's go to, let me see. So it says overview, right? We're already there, right? So just wanted to show that. That's why it said under the overview, build your actions. So let's go ahead and name our smart home action. Now, what name do we want to give it, right? Let's give it Masterclass app. Right, we're gonna save that. I know it says here IoT MC control, but we're just gonna give it Masterclass app for now. Right, so okay. Now, once we're done that and saved, it says select actions and click add actions. Right, so if you expand this, so we are under invocation, right? So it says select actions, and so we have our actions. Okay, so now enter the URL. I think we just used that. So enter the URL for your cloud function that is the fulfillment URL, right? So we need the fulfillment URL, right? So that's the smart home URL. So basically you can get it from our, you can get it from the Firebase. So I'm just gonna move the Firebase here so we can access that properly. So we need the smart home, the one that ends with smart home, right? So, oh, sorry, that's a different code. So let's see the fulfillment URL. Please note to end with /smart home to trigger your app's API. So if we go here, so this is the one we're trying to get. So I'm just gonna copy that. That's our fulfillment URL. Copy that. And then we're gonna go back here and paste that there. So that's the, it usually starts with the location, then the app name, then the URL, right? Then it says click save. If your action name is not yet added, we already added our action name, remember, so we already added the action name. So if it's not yet added, you could still add, you could just go to invocation and add it there. We already added it, so that's that, just to make sure you have an action name. Right, so what's the next step? To enable account linking, select the account linking option in the left menu of the navigation tab. So that's this. So we need to, you have unsaved changes. I thought we already clicked save. Interesting. Alright, so okay, so now it says to enable account linking, select the develop account linking option on the left navigation. Use these account linking settings. So we're gonna select account linking, that's that. And then it says client ID is ABC123, so we're gonna paste that. Client secret is DEF456, so we're gonna just paste that. Authorization URL, so it says copy your fake authorization, fake auth function URL from Firebase URL. So if you go back here, so let's copy the fake auth URL. Right, so copy the fake auth URL, and then we'll put that here. And then same thing for the fake token. Token URL. This should be fake. Copy of fake token URL. So we just need a fake token. So let's copy that. And we're gonna paste that. And then that should be it. All right. So we've put in the authorization URL, we've put in the token URL, right? And then I think that's it. So now let's just click next. We don't really need any of these. Next, we don't need any of this, and then just click save, right? So now our application is set up on the actions console, right? So the next thing we need to do is to install the and run the MQTT events hub, right? So we're gonna go ahead and run that. The code is on this URL, so we're just gonna open that. So this is our events hub. So it says we need to install this. So this code needs to be running. This is actually an event hub. It's a code that listens to actions that come in from our Firebase application through the MQTT broker and forwards it to the device. So basically it's like an in-between, and it also collects actions from the device and forwards it to the functions, to the Firebase functions, so that the Google Home can act on it. Now, this design is a little different. Remember, we talked about the design where we had that event hub in the center there, right? So to forward and collect messages and route them back and forth. Now, you could do this different ways, but this is just for this particular design of what we're building, right? So it says install the source code editor. We already have Visual Studio Code. So download Visual Studio Code from there. Install the NPM and Node.js. We already have those. Download and install Node.js. We already have that. So download this repository. So now let's download this repository. So we're gonna go to downloads, branches, and then we're gonna download the zip. Okay. So now that we have the zip file, we're going to open this, and now we're going to let's name this event hub. Okay. So now that we have this, let's open Visual Studio and load the app, right? So let's see. So it just says run the. So it says install and run MQTT event hub. Oh, sorry, no, that's not. Okay. So it says, okay, here we are. In the connection params, first let's load it in the Visual Studio Code. So let's open Visual Studio Code. Give me a second. So we'll just minimize this section. Let's just have that in here for now. Okay. So let's open another Visual Studio Code window. File, new window. And now we're going to open the Event Hub app. So go to Downloads, Event Hub. We're gonna open that up. So the next thing it says is we need to change the server URL and the API URL, right? So the server URL is the server URL is for the broker, right? So let's go to connection params, input the broker URL, right? So we did have that here. Let's just copy it from here. It's the same broker, so we're just going to copy the broker, copy, and we're going to paste it here. Right, and then it also says that API URL. So the API URL is our URL that ends with the cloudfunctions.net. You would have seen it here when we loaded the app, right? So you can either copy it from here, right? Copy, or you can copy it from your Firebase console, right? So basically, we had it in Firebase console, right? So any of these, right? So we just need a base URL. So that's up to the .NET here, right? So just the US Central Masterclass app -A128 cloudfunctions.net. That's all we need, right? So now we need to put that. This is not the one. Right, so we need to put that here. Now that we have that here, let's make sure we have everything set. Yeah. Okay, let's go back again. It says open terminal and run npm install. So let's just go ahead and open terminal. New terminal. Remember, we already had npm installed, right? Npm install. And now we'll run that. That should run npm for us and install all the node modules that we're going to need. So that's been added. So a few of them, right? So from package.json, you can see we need Axios and MQTT. It's just a small application, nothing fancy, right? And then it says run npm start to start the event hub. So this needs to be running on your background for this application to work. So basically you do npm start, right? And now the application is running, right? So the application is running, right? So let's go back. We're done with this setup for the event hub. So I will provide the link to this too. Also, you can get it from the other one. You can link up from the first one here, right? So so now it says run your IoT device ESP32 code, right? So for this one, we will need to run, give me a second. So, okay. So we need to run the Wokwe. We need to go to the Wokwe site, right? We need to go to the Wokwe site. And we need to run this code. So this is version 3, but we need the version 4, right? So I will provide the link to the version 4 with this video, right? So if you go to, I will provide a link to the version 4. So this is the version 4 here. All right, so, okay, I didn't put, okay, I just called it Google Home. All right, so basically, this is the code for it, right? IoT MC MQTT 001, right? So it says we should run this code, right? So let's do this. So run out of space here. So okay, that's fine. So when you run this code, you would see data coming through here as it forwards it over to the cloud, right? So first of all, if you go to our Firebase database, you would see there's nothing here, right? It's not no devices, nothing, right? And there's no data in our real-time database, right? So that is what this Event Hub helps us accomplish, right? So when you run this code, so it should take a while. There's 2 LEDs, right? And there is, I think the code was changed where we now have a SSD 1306 LCD screen, and then we still have our temperature and humidity sensor that we used from before. All right, so basically, when that runs, you should see data coming here. Right, so once that gets connected, so it's connected, it sends data, you see, it says, okay, check data type, register settings, so it's registering the data, and now you can see data popping here. So basically what it has done right now is it has said, okay, blue LED, we registered you, your brightness is 0 at this time, your on-off setting is false. Red LED, you've been registered, your brightness currently is 0, and you're not on, right? Which it is not on. If you look at that, it's not on, right? So it also says the humidity, right? Right now, the temperature the humidity set point is 69. So let us check that. So you can see the humidity set point is 69, right? So that's the current humidity of the device. And then for the temperature, right? Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is the one for humidity. We're using temperature setting, but it's actually humidity. Right, so for the humidity, it says, the temperature, sorry. Temperature is 24. You can see the set point here is 24, right? So basically, it's registered our device. Another thing you would see is if you go to the Firestore database, you would see our device has been registered. So basically, we have how many devices? We have 4 devices. One is a LED, red LED, right? 4 devices on that WOPWI 001 gateway, right? The blue LED also, right? There is a temperature sensor and there is a humidity sensor. So 4 devices have been registered at this point, right? And you can see their data pop in, right? So the next thing we're going, basically, let's say you decide to change values. Let's say you want to change the humidity or temperature value, right? You can change this to 32. You would see the data pop in. 32.7. You can see it's now up to 32. This temperature set point has come up to 32.7. And you would see the data move here too, right? You see the data at 49.5. You can see that move. So you can see how this device sends it to the event hub. The event hub routes it through the APIs on Firebase, and it goes to the right places. Right. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to share my device. Right. So I'm gonna go onto Google Home on my mobile phone, right? And then open the Google Home app, right? And now with the Google Home app open, there's nothing there. I don't have anything here, right? So I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna go to add devices. So if we look at the setup, it says go to log into your Google account, click add new device, works with Google. So basically, okay, I don't have a home yet, right? So I'm just gonna create a home, right? So we'll call it Georgia home. Sorry, I messed it up. I'm just gonna too much stuff on this screen. Okay. So basically what we did is just creating a home, right? So I'm just call it Georgia home, right? Done. Continue. So I'm creating a home. Can we skip this? I guess we continue down. Just that's fine. Okay, so that's the Georgia home, right? So now we can continue. So here it says, we can use what we have here. It just says like we can add devices, right? So it says log into your Google Home, click add new device. So we're gonna add a device to the home, right? Set up device, right? And then works with Google Home, right? So our app should show up here. Let's search for it and see. Okay, there it is. You see that? So that's our masterclass app. So we click on that, right? And then link an account to control masterclass app to any device. Continue. So we're going to continue as me. Sync. No thanks for now. Okay, now it says link this service to Google, right? So let's click on that. So it's linking our app. Hopefully, if everything is going well, it should be linked. Let's see the devices. All right, let's go back to the main page. Just reload them. Oh, okay, the devices are there. So usually it gives you an option to set up the device, but I don't know. I guess this device is a little different. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these devices. So you can see there's a red LED, blue LED, blue LED. So there's a blue LED, red LED, humidity, and temperature sensor, right? And right now the indoor humidity is the humidity is 49.5, which is what we have here. Temperature is 32.5. It's saying 32.5, but we have a 32.7. Oh, it's close. Right, so basically let's add these two rooms. Right, so I'm gonna just add this to a room. Next, Georgia home. Add to room. So I'm just gonna put it in the attic, right? So the blue LED is now in the attic, right? We'll do the red LED also. Add to room. We'll do humidity. Add to room. And the last one is temperature. Add to room. So we've moved all our devices we've moved all our devices, right? So let's just go to attic, right? And now let's assume we increase our humidity to let's increase our humidity to 79.5, right? So just see what happens. You can see it's changed to 79.5. If we reduce our temperature to 11.2, right? Just watch that. 11, right? And we can also increase temperature to 51, which our temperature should jump up now to 51.5. Okay, 51.5. Humidity we can bring down to 66, right? And if you look at this, humidity now is 66, right? Now we can also turn on our blue LED. So I clicked on the button. You can see the LEDs on. It's 0%, right? I could slide it and increase the brightness. You can see it came up a little bit, right? I could even slide it further to 92. You can see the brightness come up, right? And you can see how bright this blue LED is right now. I could reduce the brightness down to you can see I actually reduced it or switched it up. But basically I could set it to 100%, right? And it's 100%, and I can reduce it to like 14%. And you would see this go down, right? So we're using PWM there to control the brightness of our LED, right? Same thing with our red. We can turn that on. The red should come on, right, when you click on it on the device, right? So now we could increase that to like 70, 91. You see it got brighter, right? And you could reduce that also. Okay, and you could do whatever you want. You could also talk to Google. Okay, let's say turn off attic lights.
All right, turning off 2 lights.
So you see the 2 lights are now off, right? And then you can say turn off red light in the attic.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, anyways, you could put on the attic lights, all the attic lights, both lights come on. You could set the percentage, increase or decrease them, right? I don't know why Google Home isn't understanding my voice right now. So you could reduce them, or increase them, right? Depending on what you want to do, right? So we reduced them to 19, right? So now it's low. Could increase it to 88%. See, they came up brighter. All right, so again, you could do whatever you want, right? And as this is happening, just take note also, database is also changing, right? So let's say you, and then there is this device also that shows, the settings. So it says red is at 88%, blue is at 88%, right? So red is 88, blue is 88, the brightness. If we went into the attic and then we changed blue to 33%, you can see blue has changed to 33%. You can see blue light here on our LCD screen is 33. Same thing, you can increase this and increase that also. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to show though is there is an Android code that if you want to, I will provide the link also for this Android. The Android, it's the same code base we've been using, but this is a version for the Google Home, right, the V4. So just, if you want to, you can download this version of the Android. Let me run that on my Android Studio. So basically, we could run Android Studio. Okay. Just make sure though that the URLs are set. I don't think did I set those up yet? Nope, I haven't set up the MQTT broker. Okay, so let's copy that broker address. Okay. So just make sure you set the broker address, because your broker could be different, and I'm gonna be deleting. Okay. I'm gonna be deleting the broker when I'm done with this project, right? So let's run this. So while this is running, you can minimize that. And we could also okay, so our app is loaded, and you can see our settings have been loaded, right? It's just so little real estate for the screen here, so that's fine for now. So you can see the app here says MQTT v3, right? Oh, it's v4. I'll have to change this, so I'll make that change in the next update. So it's a v4 app, right? So the humidity is 77, right? Which it's also registering 77 on Google Home app. Temperature is 37.8, right? Which is 37.8. Google Home is approximating it to 38. And then blue LED is at 33%, which you can see it's 33%, and Google is also saying it's 33%. Red LED is at 88%. You can see it's at 88% right here, and our app says it's at 88%. Now, you can turn off the LED, or you could change let's change it to 21%, right? The red LED, so you would see that go down, right? So the value should go down, and now it's 21%, right? So now red LED is 21.8, right? So if we let's say we increase the red LED to 94, you would see that go up. You see it got brighter, right? And it's now 96.89. It's now 96.89. So you can see that as 96, right? So you could reduce it also to 3.46. I say it went down. Same thing with the blue. You could change those two. You could change the values, and it updates here. It updates here. It updates here. Right. So it's all the same. It's all connected, right? And if you turn this off, blue LED goes off. You would see that blue LED will come off on the Google Home. Right, so Google Home says blue LED off, and if you switch this off, also red LED will go off, and red LED will go off on Google Home. Same thing if you switch blue LED back on, blue LED comes on, blue LED should come on on your Google Home, still at 64%, and red LED comes on. Red LED will come on. It came on here, and now it's at 43. So just gonna go ahead and switch this up. So the next thing I'll do is I'm going to connect our. I'm going to run this code in ESP32, right? Our table lamps, and we will see what happens from there, right? So just give me a second to set that up, and I will be back. Okay. So I've set up my table lights. You can see my table lights. This is a PWM triac dimmer. I think previously we were using relays, but I changed those to a PWM triac dimmer. So I'll try to provide the link to where you can buy those on Amazon, right? And the other things are stuff that we already have set up here, right? So it just supplies the PWM to the triac dimmers. The same PWM that we're using. The code didn't change. The only thing I changed was the device name and the Wi-Fi settings, because the Wi-Fi here is different from the Wi-Fi there, right? So basically it's all the same thing, right? So we'll just go ahead and switch it on. But before we switch it on, you could see here the gateways. We don't have any device registered from our table lamps, right? So we have gateway Woki 001. There are 4 devices for this device, right? And then there are 4 devices here from this same device. I'm just gonna go ahead and switch this on again, because I had to switch it up since it took a while to set up my table lamp, just so that we don't have things just connected for too long. Right, so let's wait on those to connect. Just put this to 0 so we know when it connects. Okay, it should connect any moment now. Yep. So data is set. Okay, so data has been set. So it's 0, because whenever we connect the first time, it resets everything to 0, right? So if we were to change the temperature here to -8, you see that come in, and this also registers that data. Let's bring it down to 62, and then on our Google Home, let's put on our device, right? So just make sure I upload the latest data. Everything looks good at this point. 4 devices in the attic, and if I turn on the blue LED and increase the brightness to like 80, you see that. The blue LED comes on, the blue LED here is on, and the brightness has been set to like 93, right? So I think it's, so this was set to 93. And now, so you see all that is working, right? Just like we had it, right? And then I'm going to switch on my table lamp, right? So let me plug that in. Hopefully it works. So table lamp is plugged in. I probably forgot to put the switch on. Okay. So you can see some extra devices were added, right, from the table lamp, right? So we have the ESP table lamp, blue LED, red LED. It's a real sensor, so the humidity and temperature are probably going crazy. Right, and you could see that those devices also have been registered here, right? So you see that we had only Woki 001, now we have table lamp, and we also have 4 devices there that have been registered. So you connect the device to the system, and it automatically connects into the system, right? And now we could if we go back to our Google Home, if let's just make sure. So let's plug this in again because I think I had that switch off. So let me do this again. Okay, you see the normal process is it comes up. That's what I wanted to show. Comes up for a few seconds. Sorry about the PWM there. Usually kind of not too stable because it's using PWM, right? And then it sets that data. I just wanted to show, okay, it comes on, then it resets. Now, let's open our Google Home app. Sorry. Okay. So open our Google Home app and we'll go back. So it looks like we need to reload the screen. We're only seeing those added devices. We don't see any device yet. So let's reload and let's see what happens. So now that we've reloaded, you can see more devices showed up, right? So if you notice, 4 more devices, and these are for the, so I'll turn on the blue one, right? You can see these are from Google Home device, right? So these are from my table lamp, right? So I could turn it on and turn it back off, right? And I can increase the brightness and I can also reduce the brightness, right? So you can see what happened there, right? So basically, you know, those new devices have been added, right? So one of the reasons why the feedback is not coming back is because we haven't added it to Home yet. So you're not going to get the real setting until you add it to a home or a room, rather. It's just linked. So I'm going to go here, add to room, and I'm going to add it to the basement, right? So the basement, and red LED has been added to basement. Add to room. Basement. Blue LED added to basement. Add to room. Basement. Humidity sensor added to basement. Add to room. Basement. Okay. So now basically we can so we could now control this, right? So let's try this. Turn on red lamps.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Not sure why my voice is not working well on this device. Okay. Turn on red LEDs.
Got it. Turning 2 lights on.
Okay, so you see the red LED, the red lights came on, right? And then we can say, turn on blue LED.
Got it. Turning on 2 lights.
So you can see the blue LED here and the blue LED here are on, right? So let's say set red LED to 80%.
Sure. Setting 2 lights brightness to 80%.
You see, so the brightness is increased, right? Let's try this again.
Okay.
Set blue LED to 80%.
Sure.
So you
Setting
see
2
the
lights
blue
brightness to 80%.
LEDs are now 80%, right? Okay, let's just put this in. And you can also see, you know, all that value gets changed here. So we can also say reduce all lights to 30%.
Okay. Setting 4 lights brightness to 30%.
So you can see we reduced, and so now it's down to 30%, right? So that says 30% also. So basically, there's a lot you can do. There's just a small project, right? Very easy to set up. You could try this on your own. If you want to use the table apps, I could try to put in the links. Try to remember to put in the links of these controllers, right? And it's just a project you can try out on your own, right? So I really hope this project has been okay for you, right? I hope you've been able to learn a lot from this project. I know it took a while to do this video, took a long time to complete, right? So this video took a long time to complete and took a while to set everything up, right? If you have any questions, like, feel free to put in your questions in the on the video on YouTube. Feel free to put your questions in the comments on YouTube, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Right. So you can see you could use this app. You could use your Google Home. It's all the same. You just have to connect it. Right. You could increase it here. You increase it that with 69%. You see that went up on the blue. Right. And also went up here. Okay, just for this one. Right. So basically, it works. Right, and you can do whatever you want, right? Or you could even when the PWM is low, it blinks. You can see the red light. It's not very stable. It just depends on the controller. I had to find something quick that we could use for this project, right? So again, just and this is for the other one. So you could reduce the blue. It went down. You could increase that and go off. Alright, so feel free to do whatever you want. Alright, feel free to like, comment, share this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.